Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
All right. Another great day at hand, and this is going to be a really awesome show. You know, I told you that, nowadays my guests are those who, when I started, way back then, about 20 years ago or something, they were kids when I started the show. Now I'm still on air, and they are the big people in Ghana. So I'm going to be interviewing one of them today. The first time I spoke with him, I think he was doing some work for some NGO, a small boy at Legon student. That was over 21 years ago, I think. 21 years later. Show some love, man. 21 years later, he's back. But he's no longer a small boy, B.O. Legono. He is back as an MP for Medina. And he's here with us, man. And we're going to talk a lot. He's a lawyer. And he's in court right now. Before he comes, let me tell you something. I read about him because this guy is actually, Mr. troublesome. This man is actually suing the IGP, Inspector General of Police, Sosu, plus the Attorney General. Hey! One small boy, you want to sue the AG and the Attorney General. And I say, is he having fun or does he really mean? Let me keep quiet. Let me introduce him. Put your hands together. Show some love for my good friend, Sosu. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Wow. 21 years ago, small boy, you were here. Please have a seat, man.
The young shall grow.
The young shall grow. And the young has grown. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, the young has grown. We'll have a great conversation. We'll be right back.
KSM Show.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room, or the cute gift shop. Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. A most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
KSM Show.
Right, we need to look at the chair free for Mensa. You don't need to be told. Yes, you catch one. It's the best show. A KSM Show. Thank you.
Of course, you're back, and I'm here with my good friend. Is it Xavier or how do you?
Well, some would say Xavier. Others would say Xavier. Others would say Xavier. It depends on how romantic you are.
Okay.
So.
Which one is the most romantic?
I think the most romantic one is Francis Xavier.
Francis Xavier.
Exactly.
We have Francis Xavier in the house, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
By the way, the first time I hosted you, that time it wasn't called KSM Show. That was back in the days of TGIF.
That is correct.
Yeah, you were a young guy, I think a grad student.
Absolutely.
You were raising funds. I don't remember, but I remember
It was, I was doing some program for persons with disability.
Okay.
And that was what I was doing. And, you know, I think what brought me to the show was the Village of Hope Orphanage. That was doing some fundraising in support of orphans at the home. And at the time, I was a beneficiary of the orphanage because I grew up in the orphanage at the Village of Hope. And I had come back to the orphanage as the public affairs officer. And then you hosted me on Thank God It's Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, welcome back, man. Show you some love, man.
Thank you. It's amazing being back.
And about 20 years later, he's back on the show.
Yeah.
But this time, he's an MP for Medina.
Yeah.
But the reason he's here, we'll be talking about plenty of things. You know the show. But the immediate reason you are here, you know, I introduced you as a very troublesome MP.
Yeah. Troublesome for the right reasons.
Troublesome for the right reason. What are some of the There was one time you were in court because you had filled some pot, you had burnt some ties. Can we start from there?
You're right, we can start from there. Well, so this is an active citizen who would use all the legitimate space to fight for the right of his people. And being a member of parliament, I realized that one of the biggest challenges we had at the time was a Damfa Mensa Road. We had the Damfa Medical Center, and people were having all kinds of problems. People were having like miscarriages on that road. If you have issues of robbery, police are unable to really chase assailants and so on and so forth. And I had done all that I could using the means, lobbying here and there. Government was just adamant. And this was a road that somebody had already taken on contract for over 11 million Ghana cedis. And the contractor was not showing up. So after a series of community engagement and engaging the police, we decided to do a demonstration, which I led. And so it was that demonstration that landed me into my first major problem as a member of parliament, because then the government's response was to use marshal the entire police force, you know, against me. In fact, on the day of the demonstration, they did everything to arrest me, but the youth resisted. It was a really big, it was a big resistance. If you look at those videos, they were physically, I was physically handled, and then the youth snatched me from the hands of the police and insisted that that arrest was not going to happen. And so after that, 1 week after that, they brought policemen to surround my church and wanted to arrest me in the church. Again, the youth marched up at the church and resisted the arrest again, and then the police had to run away. I think for about 2 weeks, I had to stay in parliament, sleep in parliament, because
you couldn't come out.
Because I had intel that they were surrounding parliament, that once I move out, they'll get me arrested. And so Speaker had to intervene. I had to be flown even out of the country in the midst of the drama, you know, on some parliamentary duties. I wouldn't have been there, but because of the drama, Speaker had to put me on those duties to go and do something. And so right from 2021, I knew very well that we're actually surviving under some very tyrannical regime, which I have never seen before. I don't know your time, because you might have experienced the real revolution. The revolution time was the time we were born, so we didn't really see what happened. I don't know what you saw under military regime, but I mean what I'm seeing now is really scary, you know. And so that was what happened in Medina. But fast forward, it's been fun. I recall they went to court, got a bench warrant for my arrest. Eventually, we went to court to rescind the bench warrant. The case had to go on until such a time the judge realized that the state themselves were not serious about what they were doing. So the case was struck out and I was discharged. And
so you were discharged?
Yeah, I was discharged by the court.
What was the official charge?
The charge was destruction of public property. And you know the property they allege I destroyed? The potholes.
You destroyed the pothole?
The potholes in which ties were bent.
That's what you want to destroy?
That was the destroy part. And in any event, this was not something that I was directly involved in. You know, so I think that we have really, our criminal justice system is in real danger. and we can only count on the courts.
Coming from lawyers, that's a very deep statement.
Yeah, it is. It is in really big. I mean, we are. I mean, I don't want to use Trump's word. I would have borrowed that word. You know, Trump said like African countries are in some hole.
Yeah.
That hole. It looks like our criminal justice system is getting to that extent.
In that hole?
Every lawyer worth, I mean, the sort would know that currently there is no certainty in the court anymore. You know, one of the features of any remarkable legal system is the certainty. So when you advise your client, you can tell your client that, you know, well, when you go to court on these matters, you are likely to get this. Now we don't have those certainty. For example, today I'm just from court. This was a guy who made social media statement that the police thought may have some criminal connotations and put him up for arrest and said he was wanted. No problem. I was a lawyer for the person. So I reached and said, you know what, that's not a really big deal. If police, you are wanted, let's just walk to the police and then go and explain ourselves. So I lead my client. After my advice, we go to the police willingly to respond to your issue. Then the police decides to detain the person. You go to court, even though...
Technically, that's not done if you go there with a lawyer.
Once you see, even if a court issues a bench warrant for your arrest, and you go to the court willingly, the warrant is rescinded. So if the police says that you are wanted, and you show up at the police station, it means that you are willing and ready to deal with the issues.
Okay.
So the only time people are remanded, in fact, there are two major conditions. One of them is where the court is of the view that the person will not stand trial, will not come to the court to stand trial. Or where the court thinks that maybe the person may interfere with investigations. But where the person walks himself to the court or to the police, that condition doesn't exist. Because there are many people who have committed crimes and are running away from the police. So if you think that someone's conduct may amount to criminal conduct and you announce it publicly and the person turns himself in to deal with the issue, how would you then turn around and say that he's a flight risk or may not come to stand trial and for that reason he's remanded? And he's been on remand for nearly 1 month before today the court graciously admitted him to bail. So, you know, when such things happen, it creates serious doubts in the system because next time...
I'm guessing we can't talk about the person because this is a...
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because next time, I mean, that could be said of most of the cases that we even had recently of the protest. Because these protesters, all the charges against them are misdemeanors.
We'll get to that. I want you to finish off with this first.
Yes.
So the person is out on bail now?
No, he's not on bail now. He's not on bail now. But I'm making the point strongly that the attitude of police, investigators, prosecutors, and attorney general, and the courts are gradually making people lose confidence in the criminal justice system. Because the system is now used as a means of punishing suspects even before they are proven either guilty or otherwise. I have a book I read recently titled Guilty Until Proven Innocent. What is happening now is that once you are alleged to have done something, there's a presumption of rather guilt rather than a presumption of innocence. And that is quite a reverse of what should be the case. Because in every criminal justice system, in our constitution, when a person is alleged to have committed any offense, in Article 19 of the Constitution, he is supposed to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. But what we're doing now is to create a presumption of guilt, which is the direct opposite of what the Constitution requires.
But you made a comment that the whole judicial system is now, should I say, sketchy, or
it's not only sketchy, but it is suspicious. Let me just put it that way. You know, so now we have three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. When the legislature fails and the executive fails, we take solace
In the
in the judiciary. So when the judiciary begin to appear as though they are a tool in the hand of the executive to oppress the people, who or on behalf of whom they have sworn
to protect.
then there is a problem.
But let me stay on that a bit. You see, when they appear to be, are they appearing to be? Is that what you're saying now?
Absolutely. To me, that's how they appear to be. You know, I see the courts gradually looking like a tool in the hands of the executive to take away rights, to repress the oppressed, and to further marginalize the people of Ghana. Now, the ordinary citizen has only one tool. Unlike the executive, the strong and the powerful, who control our resources, our monies, our taxes. All the ordinary citizen has is a freedom to express themselves. It doesn't matter how strong that expression may look to the executive. It doesn't matter how disruptive that expression may look, but that is the only thing they have. The ordinary citizen cannot go to places where galamsey is happening now and purport to want to go and arrest people. They can't do that. The ordinary citizen cannot, they don't have, the only tool in their hands right now is freedom of expression, which they may do through protests, like they are doing right now. Now, when you read the case of Republic of Success Justices, ex parte McCarthy, it makes it very clear that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. Why? Because under our constitution, we say justice emanates from the people and it must be dispensed for and on behalf of the people. So, KSM, you know, when you see justice, you know, every Ghanaian has a sense of justice. And that is why when someone steals one koklodeka or some abobitadi and the person goes to jail for like 8 years or 7 years, and another person steals state money and is given an opportunity to settle, all of us are stirred up. And you see our sense of justice begin to agitate.
Yeah.
Everybody is like, how? Why would they jail a small boy for what we call petty crimes, or we call them poverty crimes? You know? So we all have a sense of justice. So when that justice is not dispensed in a manner that we all see that justice has been served, people become agitated. And unfortunately, that is how our justice system is looking now. Anytime they act, people don't see the fairness. People don't see that they are really, you know, standing for and on behalf of the people.
What's coming into my mind right now is the image of Lady Justice blindfolded.
Absolutely.
Which means she doesn't
see no evil,
the sword cuts
hear
both
no
ways.
Evil. And yours is to just, your allegiance is to the Constitution of Ghana and the people of Ghana. Your allegiance is not to the executive, not to the legislature, not to any man in power. You are not exercising your judicial powers because somebody is strong and somebody is weak. You are not exercising it because it's about a minister of state, or it's about the president, or it's about a street sweeper or anyone. You are exercising it fairly, impartially, reasonably, without any arbitrary or any sense of bias on your part. Unfortunately, consistently, it doesn't come across like that. And that is what my worry is. Because I work in the courts and I'm interested in an impartial court. I want to see the court dispense justice without fear of favor. I want the judiciary and the justice system to grow. And my personal motto is justice for all and injustice to none. So at every point in time, my question is, has the state been served? Has the ordinary Ghanaian been served? That is the only time we get to know whether there's indeed justice for all and injustice to none.
Wow. Show some love, man. Okay. Now, having said all of this, I want to turn it to some more practical events that we are experiencing right now. For example, Mr. Editor, please just show me some clips of some of the Galamsey areas, random clips. I just want to talk about something, the destruction of the rivers, the people who are being maimed, all that. Show me just a few clips of that before I ask my next question. Thank you very much. We're back. And I deliberately show these pictures because this is what is happening now. This is sad, this is terrible, this is unbelievable. Now here's the thing. A group of youth decide that this thing is too much. They say, no, this has gone on for too long. Something must be done.
Absolutely.
So they go and demonstrate. And some of them are arrested for destroying public property. They are protesting against the exploitation of the mines and everything that is so bad. But that's okay. Those who are on the street were arrested for destroying. And I put something on my Facebook page, and I said I stand with them. And a few people came up and said, KSM, so you stand with anarchists? You stand with who causing chaos and destroying public property? Is that what happened?
You know, that is the irony of the whole case. And for me, that is how twisted our country has become. It almost looks like a country that hails the wrong and hates to hear the truth. You are in a country where these environmental degradation and the death of what is happening now poses existential challenge to all of us. It violates what we call intergenerational equity rights, because every generation is supposed to exploit and use the natural resources around in ways that do not deprive future generations of the use of these same resources. Unfortunately, what we are doing now, the managers of our resources today are just they are on a path of no return. It's like we are willing to just destroy. It doesn't matter what the future holds. And that is wrong. And the only group of people who are more likely to be affected by what is happening today is the young people. Is the young people, because they are going to be living for the next 50 years, the next 100 years. So the issues of cancer, the issues of all kinds of strange tumors, all kinds of kidney diseases, the cyanide that is destroying the water bodies, the fact that it's entirely possible that sooner than later, even Ghana water may not have potable water, may not have like good water that they can process for us.
Yeah, you might have to import water, they tell us.
These are serious issues. And the only group of people who can actually stand up for us right now will be these young people. And guess what? When they stand up for these things, instead of us dealing with the substance for which they stood up, we resort to what I call frivolities, right? The things that are not really, you say they destroy public property, which are posters, political party posters. They are the public properties that they claim they destroyed. I heard one say that, so did you see Bakavamo? He went and turned off the ignition key and took the key away. So I asked him, yes. In a protest, someone turns off the ignition key and takes the key away. So what crime is that? What is the crime? Well, stealing of a key that he took, and they say he took the key and threw it away. I say, yeah. So what crime? Tell me, in the criminal offenses, what crime is that? When I saw the child, it said stealing of a key. I was like, seriously? Stealing of a key, ignition key. That was turned off, taken away and thrown away. That's stealing of a key. So when you put the entire protest within the context of the videos that we just saw, it should tell you that if anyone must be hailed by the elderly, religious groups, organized labor, and all persons who care about the future existence of our nation, it must be these young people.
Yeah.
These young people are the martyrs of our time. They are putting their lives, they are putting their future, they are putting their everything they've got. Some of them, their profession, some of them are lawyers, some of them are medical doctors, some are engineers. They are putting all these things, at the table so they can save our collective future. They deserve commendation. They need to be hailed. They must be immortalized because these are the people who are saving our generation of today. Unfortunately, look at how they've been dealt with as if they are common criminals.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the regime. KSM, is it not surprising that government promised, or the president promised, that he want to put his presidency on the line when it comes to the fight against galamsey, and only under his regime he brings out a new law, an LI, that allows him to even grant licenses in forest areas.
To fire in the forest, yeah.
And in just this short period, in 8 years, over 1,000 of licenses issued. So when you have destroyed every water body and you've destroyed your own people, and there's no one living in this nation called Ghana, on whom are you going to exercise your leadership? Why do you want to be in leadership? You want to be in leadership because you want to fight for welfare of people. So the people whose water bodies you are destroying, how does that amount to fighting for their welfare? People whose farms are being destroyed for galamsey activity, how does that protect their welfare? People whose children and children's children do not have a future because of the galamsey activities, how does that translate to protection of the welfare of these people? So clearly, this is leadership failure. It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah. He says, so clearly, this is leadership failure, and it's quite unfortunate. We're going to take a commercial break because there's so much more to talk about. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, the discussion will continue. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Is it the luxurious rooms? Or the serene green surroundings? Is it the tempting swimming pool? Or the classy conference room? Or the cute gift shop? Maybe it's our chef's array of cooking delights. Whichever way, it's all about Cactus Creek. most respected hotel. 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
Keep watching your most authoritative KSM show, the best show. We all love it. And I would like all of you to keep watching KSM. He is a patriot who loves our country and who has done this for many years. And we cannot miss the opportunity to support him, to express our solidarity, and to wish him the very best. So keep watching the KSM show.
Thank you very much. We are back, and I'm hanging out with Xavier. I don't know whether that was romantic enough.
That is very romantic.
And once again, welcome to the show, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Before we get more into what we've been talking about, and we will definitely get back, folks, I promise, because there's so much to talk about. I know that right now you're suing the IGP and you're suing the Attorney General.
That's great.
And I was thinking, this stubborn Xavier, is he doing this just for the record? Actually, I sued IGP, I sued. Is it something for the record, or is it something he seriously believes is something that can go far? So that's what I want to ask you before we go back to.
That's a really good question. I have many suits for the record against Attorney General.
So this is not the first one?
No. And against the IGP. Some of them are different levels. Some have been settled along the line. Some we won against them. And so these are things that I've been doing in the past, and I felt so compelled by the story of these martyrs of our time that I decided on my own volition, on a pro bono basis.
When you talk about matters of that time, you're talking about the young ones
the young
that
ones,
were demonstrating.
Yeah, that was demonstrating. Okay. I was inspired by their spirit.
Okay.
To want to fight for them and stand with them and fight with them. And that was the reason why I reached out to them in the various cells and spoke to them and told them that, well, you've been denied bail. Hopefully at the next court day you could be granted bail. But this thing is bigger than just you. We are all involved and it affects all of us. And so our strategy must move beyond just what is happening at the circuit court. So that we can bring actions before the High Court and bring actions before the Ecowas Community Court, possibly even petition the UN in respect of different aspects of what is happening. And that was how come I did the first action against the IGP and the Attorney General on behalf of 32 protesters.
Okay.
Today, we are filing an action on behalf of 54 protesters before the Ecowas Community Court.
Oh, wow.
Yes, against the government of Ghana for violation of our environmental rights and destroying our water bodies. And in that suit, we are also going to challenge the basis of the current trial or the current prosecution that is ongoing of the protesters. So these are different levels of action that are meant to support or to be in solidarity with the protesters. And so there are actions that I'm going to see and make sure that we go through with the action. Because I sincerely believe that what is happening is a serious violation. You know, KSM, what happened was that there were 3 categories of people that were arrested. 1, there were people who were not part of demonstrators at all. And they were either using the premise at that morning or were standing around and were looking, onlookers.
Some of the arrested were onlookers.
As I talked to you, one person who is on remand was actually on his way to visit the wife who was on admission at Texas Military Hospital. In fact, the Texas Military Hospital has written to the Ghana police indicating that this person was not even part. He was just coming to visit the wife on admission. He's on remand now. He is on remand.
And the hospital has written.
Yes. And so that category of people who were just there. Then there's a category of people who were protesters. Protesters generally in red, protesting with, and who were just standing and protesting. And there were other protesters who were agitated and who were then having some banter with the police.
Yeah.
Under the Public Order Act, what the police should have done at the time was to attempt to restrain the protesters that they claim at that time were putting out maybe disorderly behavior. And the purpose may not necessarily be to even arrest them, but to restrain them. Sometimes you calm them, sometimes whatever happened, you hold them up for some hours, then they are released. Because you know they are protesters. That's why it's called a protest. Protest is not church. It's not a church they are coming to do.
Yeah.
They are not in a mosque to come and pray and go away.
Yeah.
They came to demonstrate, to do something that will draw public attention to the problems. So that's the meaning of protest. And that is why you would always have policemen around so that they will be guiding the process. So if you see that something is going on, not going so well, you are there to guide, so you stop the thing. But when you take the view that because you see some protesters being rowdy, and so you use excessive force against them, begin to arrest them, not only arrest them, now go on arresting spree. Arresting even bystanders and people who are walking about and arresting everybody with the mind that you want to repress the protest. Then you end up violating multiple, you commit multiple violation of rights. You've unlawfully arrested some people, unlawfully detained some people. You arrested them without even telling them the reason for the arrest. You deny them the right to counsel, and they are being moved from place to place. So deny them right to their family members, the opportunity that they are supposed to get to fully defend themselves. You deny them all of that, only for you, after holding them over 48 hours, quickly rush them to court to get them remanded. Clearly, that's a systemic violation of these people who have done nothing but to only go and tell you in your face that you are not managing the environmental issues well. You are destroying our future together. That's what they came to say. And that's how you turn out treating them. So clearly, there are categories of rights that have already been violated, including the right to protest. And that is why we've taken the IGP and the Attorney General to the Human Rights High Court, and also repeating a similar action before the Ecowas Community Court. Yes.
Let put myself in the shoes of a policeman who is seeing angry demonstrators. They are protesting.
Yeah.
People are angry.
Yes.
I mean, the field that is going on with our environment is annoying.
Very annoying.
So let's say they are really angry, justifiably so. But the anger has led to levels where they are like charging, and the police actually feel at this point our lives are in danger. What force are they required to use if they perceive that the charge that is coming on is endangering them and public property?
The law says that reasonable force. And reasonable force is based on the reasonable man's expectation. For example, if somebody is protesting, holding only a placard, you know that irrespective of how angry and how charged such a protester may be, it's only a placard the person is holding. He's not holding a gun, not holding a knife. He's not only holding any weapon or stone or anything. In all these things, did you hear anywhere that a protester used a stone on a police officer? They didn't go out there to be violent. Beyond all the issues police have said that they were being rowdy and they had a clash with police, did you hear anyone use any weapon, not even the sticks they were holding, to hit any police officer? It's not heard anywhere that they use stones. They said they used stones to block roads. So they could have used those stones. They could have actually broken glasses of people, right? Because in their mind, we are protesting for you, and you want a field day to go and do your own business. We are not going to allow you. That's the mindset of a protest. A protester who has a criminal mind will not do only that. They will go out of the way and begin to destroy your cars, try to burn cars, try to destroy, like you see the physical destruction. We saw what happened in Kenya. There will be physical destruction. These protesters, there is no evidence that this protester did any fiscal destruction of anything. So the allegations are all trumped up and the charges are trumped up just so to fit into a narrative of a rowdy young people. Of course, why shouldn't they be rowdy when you are toying with their future?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be rowdy when you are toying with their future? If they don't speak now, you see, one kasa with you, when should they rise and talk to you that you are destroying their future? It is now or never. It's now or never. These are emotions building up. If the Ghana Police Service and the government does not restrain itself from the constant use and the constant abuse of ordinary citizens who are angry and venting out their anger, very soon they would have to deal with the entire nation that is angry at them. And that, I don't think that government will really want to get to that state. I'm really hopeful that the organized labor will carry through their strike. So government will understand what it feels to respond to issues when they are being raised. And so, honestly speaking, within the context of what is happening, I think that there's a systemic arrangement to just simply deny people of their right to protest. It's not really because anybody felt threatened by any weapon or any tool that will make Ghana police use the kind of excessive force they use. And so the police must come clear. You know, you said service and integrity. But it's the opposite that we're seeing.
Okay. Let me get your view on this. This, to me and to any intelligent person, knows that this galamsey is a national crisis. Sadly, it's part of Ghanaian psyche that we don't identify a national crisis, and national crisis always has a partisan flavor. Sadly, it doesn't have to be so.
I agree.
You know, so I think, maybe I'm wrong, you know, I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm saying it publicly, you know, that I commend you for saying I'm a lawyer, I've studied the law, and this is where I can help. So you decide on your own volition to go out and stand by these protesters to say what you're doing is something that the whole nation must be doing.
Exactly.
We are not, you are the youth, you are doing it, and this is the little I can do to support.
Exactly.
Okay. What I find a bit disappointing is I expect this kind of attitude to come from maybe the Ghana Bar Association, come from maybe the National House of Chiefs, come from, you know, CSOs or NC, whatever they call them. Why is it?
I think that to some extent, we are a nation without conscience.
Without?
Conscience. Because if you have conscience, you don't need anyone to call on you sometimes to respond to issues bordering on national interest. Issues that border on our collective survival. You don't need anyone to do that. I can understand and even appreciate the position of the National Democratic Congress, because I know that as a political party, there are several things that we can rise up and do a demonstration on. But if you can see, this is one of those things that as a party, there hasn't been any such demonstration. Perhaps because, like you rightly pointed out, for fear of anybody now to politicize the whole thing, to say that we're NDC for agenda. So, advisedly, let the young people who believe in their own future stand up. And if there's any support individually you can render, you render it. And that's what some of us are doing. Just so we avoid that space where everything is turned political. Yeah. But I've realized that anytime when people don't want to take responsibility, they turn things into politics.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen that.
Very much.
You know, when people want to, once they are sounding political, it means they are trying to run away from responsibility. And they don't want to be accountable to people. What would it take for Ghana Bar Association? I've been one of the leading critics or whatever of the Ghana Bar Association. I mean, I've led several criticisms of the Ghana Bar Association because I have been so disappointed by the approach when it comes to national issues. Even the Catholic Bishops' Conference has issued a statement that on Friday they embarked on demonstration, an anti-galamsey demonstration. How can a Ghana Bar Association be quiet when its members, lawyers in good standing, are being arrested because they are part of a protest, and the Bar Association is quiet? KSM, you know, I have had my own share, even as a legal journey, how the General Legal Council and other people connive, seized my license and suspended me from legal practice. As at the time I was suspended from legal practice, Ghana Bar Association was so quiet. It took international bar associations like the International Association of People's Lawyers to be putting pressure and doing international publication against the Ghana government for attacking me as a lawyer. Today, lawyers in detention and lawyers are quiet. The whole bar association is so quiet.
Why?
Why? Because the bar lacks conscience. The bar lacks conscience. That's how simple I can put it. Because if you don't put it that way, they'll say you want to turn the bar into a political bar. Right? You want to turn the bar into a political bar. But the point is that, look, freedom is never free. The freedom we enjoy today as a people was secured by the toil of other people. Look, the Bar Association, you can only be working as a lawyer at the bar when there is peace, when your clients are prosperous, when your nation is okay, when the nation is not at war. That is where you can practice. Judges, you can only be a judge and be comfortable coming to sit to hear cases and deliver justice when your nation is peaceful. So when things are wrong and people are standing out and speaking out and fighting, what they need is solidarity and support.
Yeah. Put your hands together, man. I mean, yeah.
That's what they need, not the other way around. And so I am just hopeful that someday there will be a new awakening of the people of Ghana. I am looking forward to that day where there will be new awakening of our conscience, our collective conscience, where truth is not determined by political powers or political colors, where truth has no political connotation, where we can be very honest, we can be sincere, we can be accountable, and not rather always hide behind politics to defeat the ends of justice, to defeat truth, and at the end of the day endanger our collective survival. That's the day I look forward to.
So from that, man, so do all of us. So do all of us. It's and of course you are much younger. You are coming, and you are asking me, since I am from the older stock, whether I've seen this kind of, you know. But those were times when it was clear that we're under maybe a military rule and the lines were drawn, you know. But under a civilian administration, these things boggle my mind. The protesters, the youth, and that's what impresses both of us. You are the youth anyway. Me, I'm an older person, but I'm impressed that at least the youth are developing the conscience to stand up and realize that in 50 years' time, 20 years' time, they are the ones that are going to be confronted with the bad seeds that are being sown now. So they rise up. You know?
And it's amazing that it's quite shocking that you have these young people rise up to demand for these things under a civilian rule, a democratic rule, and yet they are treated this way. I recall during those days of revolution, and we know that you are even under military dictatorship, the bar was so active. It was a time that you could even go to prison, depending on how critical you become. But the bar stood up.
Yep.
The Ghana Bar Association of the 80s,
Yep.
of the 90s.
Yep.
It was very active and a vibrant bar
Yep.
with limited numbers.
Yep.
Today we have a lot of people called to the bar. I mean, how nice would it look for the Ghana Bar Association to say that in solidarity to the fight against Galamsey, all lawyers are not going to show up in court for like 1 week or 2 weeks. And all lawyers are going to wear their wig and gown. We are going to walk and we are going to march to the Jubilee House to express our view to the president, who is also a lawyer, that Galamsey must end. How nice would that be? But would the Bar Association do it? I'm throwing it as a challenge to them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that
Yeah.
Ghana Bar Association will not be silent on this matter.
Yeah.
You can't be silent on this matter. You must speak. We must see some action.
And I agree with you that in most cases, when there's a national crisis, unfortunately, it's turned into a partisan issue. So people will deliberately stay away so that they don't get involved in anything partisan. But something as clear as this, and I'm glad you mentioned that we have come from time. I remember, growing up when Ghanaians decided that they were not happy with General Ake Champong, then who wanted to do, I think he called it the union government. But Ghanaians felt he just wanted to turn it into a one-party state. And so Ghanaians were protesting. There was a whole body called the Professional Bodies Association, which were made up of professionals, engineers, doctors, and architects, and they all went on strike. Together, as a Professional Bodies Association, they went on strike. I can remember when my good friend, what's his name, of the Catholic, Palmer, Bishop Palmer, was then the editor for a newspaper called the Catholic Standard, and how vehemently he spoke against injustice then. And it was published, at that time, there was a Catholic paper called the Catholic Standard, and that became the voice of the people. All of that is missing.
It's quite sad that this could rather be happening under a democratic regime. And for me, if you sit quiet and you choose not to speak, don't blame anyone.
Yeah.
If you wake up one day and there is no Ghana, because there's just a thin line. There's just a very thin line between frustration or a frustrated person and violence.
Yeah, very thin line.
Yeah, there's just a very thin line. One of these days, when our frustrations go beyond acceptable limits, everybody will begin to become insane. And when everyone becomes insane, you cannot control an insane person out there. And it's so important that as a people, we must begin to realize this. And it's sad that Ghana remains largely a Christian country, and yet we are so dishonest when it comes to issues of national importance.
Yeah.
Because if you are a bishop in a church, or you are a leader of a church or any religious grouping, what must it take you to know that what we are dealing with is a national crisis?
Yeah.
And it's not an NDC or an NPP matter. And that all of us can wake up one day and we don't even have potable water to drink.
Yes.
What would it take you to know this?
Yes.
In fact, what would it take you to even make a decision, even when they are going to vote, to say that Galamsey is on the ticket, and that anyone who does not commit to stopping it, I'm voting against you? What does it take? How dishonest can we be as a people? So I think that, well, I just pray. Sometimes, if you speak out these things, it becomes so frustrating. Now, I'm beginning to even feel the frustration in my heart now. I can feel the depression.
Don't be. You are one of our few voices of reason.
Arise, oh my soul. Arise,
Yes.
arise. Because sometimes it gets so depressing when you
Yes,
think
it
about
does.
them. So I think that we need some
It does.
radical
Yes.
awakening of our minds.
Definitely do.
Radical awakening of our spirits, so we can really deal with these matters.
One more time. He says he thinks there will be some radical awakening in our minds to deal with these matters. And I fully, how do they say it in Parliament? I concur. I second the motion.
You second the motion.
Yeah. But Xavier, before I let you go, you are an MP, right? And you're running for...
Yeah, I'm running for a second term.
You're running for a second term?
Yeah.
Okay, this
yeah.
one I'm giving you a solid platform. This is your camera. You can look here and tell your constituents. You have 30 seconds to tell them why they should vote for you.
Well, let me say that I want to thank KSM for this opportunity and want to reassure the people of Medina that I'll continue to serve their interests. As your MP, you know that as a first-timer, even as a backbencher, I've already done like 17 private members' bills. 3 of them have passed into law. 1 has presidential assent, and today we don't have death penalty because of your MP. Witchcraft accusation has been criminalized because of your MP. And back in the constituency, you know our Medina Job Center, over 7,000 jobs. You know about Best Teacher Awards. We've done 2nd edition, Best Teacher getting a car. We're doing a lot of school water for all projects and things in the community. So I just want to encourage you that on the 7th December, you still give it to lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu on the number 2. And then remember my father, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, number 8, so that we can take Medina to the next level. Thank you.
Folks, this has been great. And Sosu, Xavier, thank you very much for joining us today and throwing us some more light on this thing. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And to all of you out there, Galamsey is killing this nation. We know it and we see it coming, but it's like we are just chilling. Oh, let it come. Let it come. God willing, one day it will stop. No, it won't. Those who stop are the youth of today who get up and say, this is enough. Even though we may try to arrest them and detain them, we have lawyers like him who help us. So thank you very much for coming. So to all of you, until next week when we come back with another exciting, thinking, thought-provoking edition, KSM signing off in the words as I always have done since you came on my show, I don't know, 21 years ago. And what are the words? I am out of, let the whole world say, yeah.
The KSM Show.